The rain had been falling for 3 days straight when he arrived. Not with a knock, but with a collapse against the heavy oak doors of Blackwood Manor. Inside, Elena, a woman of 55 who had spent the last decade building walls around her heart as high as the stone fences of her estate, sat by the fire. She was wealthy, yes, and respected in the art world. But she was also profoundly alone, a voluntary exile from a world that only valued youth. When she opened the door, she found him there. A young man, barely 24, soaked to the bone, shivering, with eyes that held the terrified look of a hunted animal. He said his name was Julian. He didn't ask for money. He only asked for shelter. Against her better judgment, against the caution that had kept her safe for years, Elena let him in. For the first few days, the suspense in the house was palpable. Who was this boy? Julian was handsome, with a sharp jawline and messy dark hair. But there was a darkness clinging to him. He spoke little, flinching at the sound of sirens passing on the distant highway. Elena watched him from the shadows of her library. She caught him staring at her expensive paintings. Not with greed, but with a strange, melancholic recognition. "Why are you here, Julian?" she asked one evening, her voice steady but commanding. He looked at her, and for the first time, the fear in his eyes was replaced by an intensity that made Elena's breath catch. "Because," he whispered, "this seemed like the only place time had forgotten, and I needed to disappear." The dynamic shifted slowly. Julian insisted on working to earn his keep. He fixed the broken garden trellis. He organized her chaotic archives. As they worked side by side, the silence between them transformed. It became a language. Elena found herself looking at his hands, strong, capable, yet gentle, as he handled her old books. Julian, in turn, seemed mesmerized by her. He didn't look at her like a mother or a mentor. He looked at her like a woman. One afternoon, in the dusty light of the attic, Julian found an old record player. He put on a jazz track, soft and slow. "May I?" he asked, extending a hand. Elena hesitated. "I'm too old for dancing, Julian." "You are too alive not to," he replied. As they swayed, the age gap of 30 years seemed to evaporate. There was only the heat of his palm against her waist, the scent of rain and old paper, and a tension that was both terrifying and electric. But just as he leaned in, a phone rang somewhere in the house. Julian froze. The fear returned instantly. He pulled away, leaving Elena standing alone in the music, heart pounding with a desire she thought was long dead. Things took a turn the following week. Elena noticed items in her study had been moved. A file on her late husband's business dealings was left open. Was Julian spying on her? The suspense gnawed at her. She wanted to trust him, she wanted to love him, but her instinct screamed danger. One night, a black car parked at the edge of her estate, idling for an hour before driving away. Elena confronted Julian in the kitchen, the storm raging outside matching the turmoil inside. "Who are they, Julian? Are you in trouble? Or am I the one in danger?" Julian looked shattered. He stepped closer, invading her personal space, his voice desperate. "They are looking for me because I took something that proves I'm innocent. But Elena, I didn't plan on you. I didn't plan on falling in love with the woman I was supposed to hide from." The truth came out in a rush. Julian wasn't a criminal. He was an investigative journalist. He had been investigating a corrupt corporation, the very same corporation Elena's late husband had founded. He had come to the manor to find hidden documents, to use her. Elena felt the betrayal like a physical blow. So, this us, it was all a lie. Julian grabbed her hands, his grip tight. "The mission was a lie. The way I feel about you. That is the only real thing I have left. I found the documents days ago, Elena. I could have left, but I stayed. I stayed for you." The suspense reached its peak when the headlights returned. Men were coming up the driveway. They weren't police. "We have to go," Julian said, pulling her toward the back exit. "I am not leaving my home," Elena declared, finding the steel in her spine that she had built over 50 years, "and I am not letting them take you." In that moment, the roles reversed. The older woman, with her wisdom and knowledge of the estate's secrets, took charge. She led Julian to the old cellar, hiding him. When the men arrived, Elena met them at the door, not as a victim, but as the matriarch. She used her influence, her name, and a bluff so convincing that the men hesitated. She bought them time until the police, whom she had silently alerted, arrived. When the dust settled, Julian was cleared, his story published. He was free to go back to his world, to people his own age. He stood by the gate, bag over his shoulder. The sun was finally shining. "You don't have to stay," Elena said softly, looking at the horizon. "You have your whole life ahead of you." Julian dropped his bag. He walked back to her, taking her face in his hands, kissing her deeply, openly, without fear. "My life is ahead of me," he said, resting his forehead against hers. "And it's right here." They say age is a barrier, but for Elena and Julian, it was merely the distance they had to travel to find each other. In a world of noise, they found a quiet, dangerous, and beautiful love that defied every expectation.